Thank you, Harsh. Now on the youth side, who is speaking on? Okay, Parag and Shital, you guys are speaking on this issue. Parag, okay. Before they start, I'd like to ask the people in the back and the people talking, if you could please go outside. There's some people in the back who have said they can't hear what is going on. So if you guys would like to talk, please give respect to the people on stage who are speaking and just step outside the room. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheetal and this is Parag, and we're going to be discussing this topic. I think just from the fact that we have so many youth here in the audience, it speaks for itself. When we did our little poll, we found that 3 of us wanted to marry within our Samaj, and the primary reason was we wanted to make our parents happy. But I think a lot of us felt that we wanted to marry a Gujarati, and there were several reasons for that. It was because food was the number one reason, priority, right? We need our Gujarati food. But language was a big thing, I think. Though we don't quite often speak Gujarati very much, we do find that when we're amongst ourselves in small groups, we do tend to talk in Gujarati here and there, put in a few words, and it impacts the way we raise our children. And I think some of us did realize that and felt it was important. So again, 26 of us chose that. And also Garba, and being able to do the traditional dances. And though these are things that can be taught to someone from other cultures, people felt that sometimes it might be easier if it's someone from our own culture who's Gujarati. And then 8 of us chose someone who's Hindu, or felt that it's, 8 people felt that it was important that we choose someone Hindu, but weren't saying that it necessarily has to be someone Gujarati. And again, it boiled down to the same things, religion and bringing up your children with the same values and morals and things like that. You want to talk about the rest? Go ahead.
I think that the important thing to realize is actually surprising. When us youths got together, the overwhelming majority said, Gujarati, 26 of us. There was about 50 people in the room. So, we are on the same wavelength as our parents on this issue. We do feel that that's an important thing to realize, that we appreciate how much you guys do for us, okay? We know that our culture has good, strong values in it that may not be common in other cultures, so we recognize this fact. And again, it's also to keep you guys happy. We understand that you guys are coming from a totally different culture than we are. We grew up in a different culture here, and the ideas that the kids share here are different. So it's tough for us to balance this, but we do realize that what your guys' views are, and we respect that, and that's why our views are such.
And we really want to thank you for setting up these types of venues for us to interact with people from our community, and it really does help. We meet a lot of people, though we may not openly say it, it is a great way for us to meet people from our community.
We'd also like to address, just before we close, there was some people that have good points, and we would like to address them. But again, Vivek is going to do the talking, but these are not Vivek's ideas. These are our ideas collectively. We do feel as a group that we have some good ideas about why we should not be limited to just Indians, and Vivek's going to address those.
Basically, when we discussed the topic, there was 8 people that decided, it's okay to date outside of the race. And the reasons for that was because basically the culture can be learned. The person, your mate, whether it be your future husband or wife, they have the option of learning. Teaching them the culture about what your morals are, what you believe in, what your religion is, and also the language. If the 2 people didn't love each other, then it would be a problem. But since there's that strong relationship between love between the 2 people, the opposite party will be willing to learn the language. Learning how to communicate. They're willing to do it. If they're willing to do it, and you see that willingness in them, there really shouldn't be any problem. That's basically why we feel you know, if they really want to do it and they're willing to learn and they want to be part of your culture, which is totally different from theirs, why not accept them? You know, we're all humans, and that's all it comes down to. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The last speaker was Vivek. I didn't announce him. And now, on the adult side, who would like to speak?
On the C&D, 2 C&D topic?
C&D.
Yeah, I think we already pretty much summarized our view. I do have a comment to sort of rebuttal if I can. Do we have time? Just
yeah,
a minute?
we have time.
Okay.
Yeah.
To refresh my memory. I think many of us have the opportunity to work in a diverse mix of people, companies, whatever, and some of you may agree. So I want to hear at least some sort of an affirmation that what I'm saying is true. It sounds from what we just went through in this last topic that we almost agree on things. However, I am a little bit skeptical that on a day-to-day basis, if we have this situation, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that. In Eastern culture, we do not like confrontation. We are especially in a forum like this, when you have 2,000 people sitting and talking and listening to you, it's very difficult to stand up and take a position that is controversial and not a mainstream. I do that at work. When we are in a conference room, 10 people, and I have to really stand up on a position, it takes a heck of a lot of nerve to stand up and say that. I tend to agree immediately sometime, but then take it offline and convey my point. I hope we are not in that situation with some of these things, telling these kids the wrong, or giving these kids the wrong impression that we are on the same page, let's move on. Are we on the same page? So that's the question. Okay, just wanted to make sure that it's a sanity check. So thanks again. I think we made a very good progress. So let's move on. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think આપણા બધા બાળકો ગુજરાતીમાં બોલું છું એટલે ઘણા લોકો સમજી ના શક્યા હોય. આપણા બધા બાળકો એમ કહે છે કે મેજોરિટી અમને ઇન્ડિયન અને ગુજરાતીમાં જ રસ છે, પણ તમારે સમજવું અહીંયા મળ્યા જુદા જુદા દેશના જુદા જુદા ગામના બાળકોને અહીંયા મળવાનો ચાન્સ મળ્યો ત્યારે એ લોકોને એમ થાય છે કે ના ગુજરાતી અને ઇન્ડિયન અને આપણું કલ્ચર સારું છે. જો આપણે ફોરમ ઊભું ના કરીએ અને આપણે આપણા કામ ધંધામાં જૂતાયેલા રહીએ અને કામ ધંધામાંથી આપણે આટલો ટાઈમ ના કાઢીએ તો આ વસ્તુ શક્ય નથી થવાની. અને આ વસ્તુ આ જે અવાજ છે છો બાળકોનો એ સ્ટ્રોંગ થતો જશે જો આપણે આવી મિટિંગો ચાલુ રાખીએ અને આપણા બાળકોને આપણા કલ્ચરમાં જ મળવાનો ચાન્સ આપીએ. સો રિક્વેસ્ટ ફોર એવરીબડી ઇઝ કે ભાઈ આપણા બાળકોને ખાતર આપણે ગમે એટલી મહેનત કરીને આ ફોરમ આપણે ચાલુ રાખવું જોઈએ.
Okay, I'm glad that we had a good opportunity to speak about that topic. Although there's much more that could be said, I feel that we got a lot down. We realized that both sides have things in common, but at home, when we come into the arguments, what's going to tend to happen is the parents will move more to the right and the kids will move more to the left. But idealistically, in their minds, chances are that the two people do have a lot in common. So it comes back down to the issue of communication and actually saying what you mean and not trying to become defensive about your point. So at that, I'd like to move on to the next topic, topic 2, which is, in an overview, finding a happy medium between worshiping money and having your head in the clouds about future career and educational goals and aspirations. It is a common idea that economic stability and success through academic excellence are the wishes of many parents on their children. In the same token, it is common for a student to explore career opportunities before they are committed into their higher education. So the first subtopic I would like to discuss is, do you feel that youth should be pushed to the traditional occupations in order to maintain economic prosperity? I'd like the youths to speak on this first. And first, first Chirag will speak.
Hi, my name is Chirag Didania, Jesse Krishna. Well, all the kids were pretty much, I think, in agreement about this. What we decided was that our parents came from India under the blanket of what I like to call the math science field. It all comes down to America needed math science people at the time, and the only way for Indian people, or I guess Indian people, to come here was to do something math science related. I mean, you couldn't be a lawyer, obviously, and then come to America. But that's a lot different for us now. I mean, the kids now, the youth now, can do other things. There are people that are good at math and science still, but there are people that are good at language, people that are good at other things. And I think you have to let the kids do what they want. And, well, I mean, they obviously still have to keep the economic issues at hand. They have to remember them, that money is important, but not as important as following your heart. You always have to have a fallback, but you want to, for example, I'd rather do something that I love doing and make, say, $50,000 a year than something that I hate doing and make $80,000. You're going to be a lot happier in your own life, even if you make less money. And I'm going to hand it off to Gulpin now.
The way that they're speaking, they're in a way combining question 1 and 2. Point 2 is basically, how else do you see achieving economic success and leadership in America? I'll combine the questions and just give them more time. It'll be easier to flow.
I think for most of us, economic success isn't always based just upon economics or just upon money. A lot of it's based on happiness and content. And I think a lot of us we're all in consent that if you love what you do and if you have a passion for what you do, you will be successful. Every person I've ever met that has been extremely successful has always had a passion for what he has done or is doing. What will be in demand in the future? There's a lot of discrepancy. You know, maybe being a doctor and engineer will not be in demand in the future. Maybe that's not a venue of success in the future. So we have to plan for the future and also determine what will be in demand and what will make people successful in the future. And another thing is, again, going back to having a passion for what you do. If you do something and you're not happy with what you're doing, you're sad going to work every day, no matter how much money you make, you'll never be successful, and that's not a measure of success in all of our opinions. And again, a lot of us, I think, have always heard the story of where our parents came from, and I think no matter how much we struggle, no matter how much we go through, we'll always have the foundation of our parents to back us up, which I think a lot of our parents never had. So we are able to take some risks that our parents were not able to take in trying to achieve different things, you know, and achieving success in different ways. So I think all of us have heard the story of our parents coming from India and working at, you know, no matter what kind of job they worked at, making, you know, almost nothing, and coming from a different country with no money, no parents, nobody to support them. And we obviously have that foundation that we have to support us. So we are able to take risks, and, you know, I think all of us are in agreement that, you know, you can study whatever you want to study, engineering, medicine, but it's okay to take some risks, and we do have the backing of our, you know, our family and our friends.
Thank you, Kolpin. Okay. That's all. They're finished, so we'd like to introduce any of the adult speaker on point A and B.
Rajnikant, review the...
We are not against anything what you guys want. Pushing, we don't want to push you like if somebody is doctor, you have to be doctor also. If somebody is engineer, you should be engineer also. What we are trying to tell you is that if you are capable of being a qualified person in your life, you should take advantage of your own ability. and go in a branch like a pharmacy or engineering instead of going in some small things. Because you are capable of getting and achieving that goal, you should push yourself a little bit, for the prosperity will bring you from that occasion in the future. Otherwise, you are going to work 40 years in the profession you choose. So we are not going to push you. If you are not interested in becoming doctor, no, you should not go in there, because you are not going to enjoy 40 years of your life. But make sure that if you choose in a way that that is going to be valuable for you to enjoy your life in this country. Like if you are interested in small language stuff, and if you go in there, so I like this. But if you are capable of becoming a pharmacist, go for it, because that future is always there. Don't go by the other friend's influence. If you use your own decision, I'm sure you will select all these things. When parents are telling you, and if you think they are pushing, they are not pushing for themselves. They are pushing so that you should have better life in future with better qualification and better education. That's what the meaning is.
Hello, I have some electronic updates. I sound like that game show host. And the survey says, well, here are the surveys pertaining to these topics. We asked again, first we asked the adults. Guys, listen to this. We asked adults, what type of career choices you feel are more emphasized on your children? ગુજરાતીમાં આપણે કે ડિસ્કસ કર્યું તો આ લોકો આવ્યા પહેલાં કે તમારા છોકરાને તમારે શું બનાવવું, ડૉક્ટર, એન્જિનિયર, whatever. So અમે થોડોક સર્વે લીધો. So we took some survey about what kind of career choices you feel are more emphasized for your children. And I think there appears to be some sort of bias thing. So we gave them 4 choices: doctor, engineer, artistic talents, or whatever my child wants to be. And you want to know the results? Well, 26% of the adults surveyed says they want to have their children become doctors. So that goes against the famous bias that we all have. Everybody wants their children to be doctors. Not so. Interestingly, 0% of the parents said they want their children to be engineers. I don't know why. And not so interestingly and not so surprisingly, 0% of the parents states they want their children to be artistic talents. I guess nobody wants their children to be Michael Jackson, do they? Well, I guess I would choose, would be like to be Michael Jackson if I can make that kind of money, wouldn't I? And of course, the majority of people, 74% felt that they would get along with whatever their child wants. So here we go. Now let's look at the children's perspective. So we polled youth, you guys. And we asked this question: do you think your parents are pressuring you on your career choices? Now we talked about this in adults that should you really pressure your child? And the adult says maybe yes, maybe no, maybe with some reservations. And let's see what the survey says. Should they pressure their kids for their career choices? Very much. About 13%. Somewhat, 45%. That means we do agree to some extent that yes, maybe we should guide our children, to some sort of career choices. And again, with the same number, about 42% said, no, we should not press our kids for the choices. Pretty interesting, isn't it? Second question that we surveyed was, once again, adults. We always think that should children be allowed to have extracurricular activity for their own educational needs or their career needs? And so we ask adults, how do you feel about your child's extracurricular activities at school? Here is what adults said. 6% of the adults say that they would allow these activities for only academic pursuit. That means if you take that activity and it helps you being a doctor or engineer or whatever, sure, go ahead and do it. 14% said that they would allow only few helpful activities. That means maybe do a little bit here and there, but better stay home. 57%, this is very interesting, 57% say they would allow many more activities as long as they get good grades. So here we go, here where the beef is. If you get good grades and if you want to go and do whatever, everybody agrees with you. And about 20% said they would let you do what you want to do. It's your child's choice. In the last survey, before I conclude, is for the youth. And that's also very interesting. Have you been able to do extracurricular activities as you have wanted? In other words, I want to do this. Did you get to do that? And so here is what children say. 49% of the children says, I got what I wanted. So here goes that complaint. No, my parents don't want me to do that. How about it? Almost 50% feel that they got what they wanted. But 38% says, maybe some activities, not all I wanted. 18% of the children says they got some, but only for the academic oriented activities and stuff. And about 7% of the children says, nah, we got nothing. Move on.
All right, thanks for this.